Ladies and gentlemen of the world, coming at you live from Concord, New Hampshire and Orlando Magic. You're going to have to excuse the basketballs in the background today, but T. Ross is getting his work in for the day and decided to take a little break between sets on the bench press to join us for a quick discussion on our NIL office hours today. T. Ross, welcome to office hours. How are you?
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. I'm out here with your sister, getting some work in. Hanging out.
For those of you who don't know, my sister, Becky Bonner, is probably number one in the Bonner siblings power rankings. So there's me. I'm the cool one. There's Matt. He's the nerd who sold out and played in the NBA instead of playing in like weird European countries like me and Becky. And then there's Becky, who's going to be the boss of all of us, or who is the boss of all of us, to be honest.
Boss of the NBA.
But yeah, she's the boss.
Yeah.
Anyways, T. Ross, I was excited to reach out to you because when we talk about kind of the name, image, and likeness rule changes in college sports, a lot of people immediately go to this realm of like college athletes get to try to be influencers now or whatever type of thing. But really, what we like to focus on is like it's really you have like the rights to yourself to do whatever you want. And part of that is honestly like podcasting. So you are an athlete who's done a lot of that. You're pretty online, I would say, kind of a person, and would love to just kind of discuss, your experience podcasting as an athlete. So to start, I'm just curious, like what made you decide to start a podcast in the first place? How did that come to be?
So I think it all started during the pretty much the hiatus of the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, everybody was pretty much at home. The NBA was it was shut down for a little bit. We went on a hiatus around March. And so from March for the next 3 months, we were pretty much in the house. And it was just trying to, find that thing to kind of keep you, just moving, keep the wheels turning for me. I know that being in the house for 3 months is tough, especially when you can't go anywhere and you can't do anything, you're on lockdown. Just finding ways to kind of get that creativity out, and sitting around kind of helped me brainstorm about what I wanted to do. And actually, one of my co-hosts, one of my childhood friends, for years has been talking about, we should start a podcast. We should start a podcast. And I mean, just a few years ago, I didn't even know what a podcast was, just because it just wasn't anything I was listening to. And I think just how everybody else gets introduced to the podcast, I found the Joe Rogan podcast. I kind of, listened to over and over, and then that kind of got my interest in, what this platform he was using was. So with all that time, pretty much with that downtime in the lockdown, me and my friends started brainstorming, and we kind of just said, okay, what would it take to actually get a podcast started? Of course, the equipment was the hardest part, trying to figure out how. Or what equipment we would need to use. I mean, we were pretty much inexperienced at this point, so we needed to like pretty much podcast for dummies. So we kind of just took our time and researched for a couple of weeks, and we got all the stuff that we needed in the list, and then we went out and just tried to buy those things, which is pretty much a mic, USB mic, a laptop. You got to get your StreamYard to host the studio for your podcast station. It was just so much that went into it. I think that just me having that free time to actually sit down and learn the ins and outs of podcasting, it kind of just gave me a different passion to do something different. And now I'm almost 50 episodes in. We're doing it for just over a year now, and I mean, it's constantly just trying to learn new things. I mean, I'm still pretty new to it. I'm still learning as I go. But the biggest thing was just staying with it, having the idea of what you want your podcast to be about, and just sticking to it, and just being consistent with it. Because consistency was the hardest part. But looking back on it, yeah, there's going to be days you don't want to podcast, or days that you kind of just want to just say whatever and just leave it alone. But I think those days are the days I grew the most. When it comes to learning what this is about, and now, I mean, it's so amazing now that college athletes will be able to do this, and it just shows so much more of the other personalities of all these players, and it gives them opportunity to not really go through those college struggles that, you know, every college athlete went through. Like, I went through times where, you know, I was through peanut butter jelly sandwiches for weeks at a time. That's just what it was. Or call my mom to order me a pizza. So, I mean, now if I could have had a podcast back then and kind of been, or times where what they were back then, I could have started a podcast back then, and I could have, you know, kind of helped feed me a little bit, or, you know, kind of provide me with either books or clothes or whatever else I needed without getting in trouble. So this is an amazing opportunity for, you know, for college athletes.
Yeah. What I guess, you touched on something there, right? It's easy to start something. It's really hard to keep something going. Like, I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
What's like the driver for you? Like, what value have you seen? And knowing that maybe it's nothing yet and it's more of like a long-term play, but like what sort of value have you seen out of like initiating this project and sticking with it for the last year?
Just the growth. The growth is the biggest thing, because when you get a podcast, man, you have all these ideas of what you want it to be. You have an idea of, you know, what the finished product is going to be, and getting there sometimes takes a while, and it just doesn't happen overnight. And there's a lot of things you have to kind of grind out, and just a lot of things you have to do to kind of get yourself acclimated to, you know, the new environment of podcasting. But it's just the consistency, man. That's the biggest thing, is just seeing that growth every day. Like when we started, the podcast looks completely different than what it looks now, and I think that the biggest thing is just seeing the change. If I didn't see like any change, I just felt like, you know, I really didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have like that passion behind it to kind of push through those tough days, it wouldn't be worth it. It would just be totally for nothing. So I think the hard days and the stuff where I just didn't know and I'm trying to learn about it were the days that kind of made me appreciate what I'm doing now. And the biggest thing is just like even just reaching out to people and just having the consistency and seeing people that are like, okay, he is serious about podcasting. I've been able to, you know, reach out to like bigger podcasters with a bigger platform to give me tips. Like, and it's been helpful, man. I've talked to so many more people that I never would have spoke to before, and it's just if you get so hung up on just not like the tough part of things, like you won't get to appreciate all the things that come from that. So the hardest days are, you know, the best days in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, strong tool for, you know, maintaining and building new connections. How hands-on are you in terms of like the actual production, or have you been able to, like, as an athlete, do you think it's easier to kind of like attract help in a sense?
So, yeah. So,
how have you gone about
that's
that?
The thing. So that's the special thing about athletes, man. Like, we're going to have it's going to be a little easier to get your foot through the door, because for me, granted, I play NBA basketball and I'm a professional basketball player, but even on, you know, the college standpoint.
No big deal.
But even on the college standpoint, bro, it's just people, when you're in school, there are people that are going to school for just about everything in life that's about to happen once you leave. So the connections you make and the branding and the marketing and just like the meeting people is the biggest part, man, because you never know who's going to turn out to be who down the line. And the college is a perfect time to network and to get people's numbers and get people's, you know, just have names. If you can remember names and faces, that will go a long way, because those people will be down the line willing to help you, because, hey, you were an athlete that went to their school, their alma mater, they're gonna look out for you. They're going to want to help. And that's the biggest thing, just being an athlete asking for help. You'll be surprised how many people are going to be like, hey, for sure, hit me up. I would love to help you. You're one of my favorite players, yada, yada, yada. And it goes from there. And then it's just the easy way in to help you get, you know, acclimated to like new surroundings. And that was the biggest thing. And I think, especially when it comes to like the production value of our podcast, we actually had a few interns. We had a couple of them from around the colleges around here. We had one from UCF, and we had one from Full Sail. And they pretty much do all the editing, the clipping, the making the videos, and sending us the graphics. So all we have to do is just post it to our socials to get people to, you know, kind of get attracted to it. But that was one of the biggest things. You can find college students that pretty much work for free, and it works and it helps, because they'll work for free. They'll get the experience that they need, and they can use that to go back for, you know, later down the line for the resume. Say, hey, I worked with this guy, and now this is where they are. This is what I did for them, and things like that go a long way. So That's what we're doing now. We actually just hired our production manager. He actually works at the local radio station, so he's like super plugged and super, hands on with what we're doing. So, but it took a while, man. We hired somebody. Our first intern maybe 6 months ago. So up until that 6 months, it was literally just me and my buddy trying to figure out how to clip stuff, how to edit things, who we can help. And we actually had somebody from the Magic, like our first few episodes, like just how to clip stuff and doing all this. So that was one of the biggest things. But I mean, as an athlete, never be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to that, right? Like, you don't want perfection to be the enemy of good kind of mentality too. And a lot of people can get paralyzed by that. Like, I mean, we're just kind of rocking and rolling with these sessions, even while, I've got, stuff going on outside of this too. I'm curious to hear from you. Let's imagine T. Ross is back in college. The name, image, and likeness rules change July 1st. What are the top three deals you're trying to get in place as a college athlete?
As a college athlete, here's the toughest thing, right? This is also new, and they really just said, okay, look, you guys have the rights to your own image, and that just made it seem like it's so unregulated that there's so many avenues for opportunity that you have to kind of think outside the box to capitalize on it. So for me, if I was a college student right now, first thing I would do is be like, hey, like, you should probably have somebody reach out to all the local businesses in your area and get in contact with them, because they would probably be more likely to help you first. And it's easy. It's right in town. It gives you a good way to learn the environment around you, the businesses around you. At the same time, I know for me, I'm a big gamer. And in college, I was a big gamer. All I did was play video games. So video gamers out there who are playing, man, get that Twitch set up. Get the Twitch set up. Get your YouTube set up. Create as much content as you can, and you really don't have to worry about anybody. You don't have to. Not that you don't have to worry, but then everything that's going on is going to be all to you. Like, you can get your YouTube monetized. You can get your Twitch partnered, and then you have so many opportunities to brand with people and to collab with different people, and now you don't get penalized for it. Like, I think that's the biggest thing that students should be on the lookout for. It's just the constant collaboration with just anybody. You have to be ready for anything and everything, because now it's so new that who knows, a year or two from now, they might come back in with more regulations on things that you can and can't do. So I think it's important to try to experience as much as you can with this unique opportunity as quickly as you can to make the most out of it.
Yeah, get that power forward shop set up too, right, T. Ross?
You gotta do it. It'll pay off.
So I've got a chat here. If anyone, if you want to ask any questions, anyone out there, while I got T. Ross on, feel free to type that in there, and we'll relay those. If not, I don't know, you're basic. Like, this is your chance. Ask T. Ross a question. We'll get it out there. No, you reference even like streaming real quick on Twitch. I've noticed, like, you're doing Twitch, you're doing a podcast, you're on Discord. How is that just something you've always kind of been into, or like how what sort of is that part of like your own personal, like, something you're trying to build out over time for the long term?
Yeah. So since I was a kid, man, video games has always been the thing I've always had a passion for. And when I was younger, my mom always told me, you can't play all day, you can't do this, can't, like, video games are make your brain go rot, whatever. I've always had that stigmatism of, like, I can't really, like, video games are fun, but you can't really do anything with it. And then the last, I want to say 5-6 years, once Twitch started blowing up, like, you just see how different things are becoming. Like, people are creating, like, their whole livelihood and creating, like, jobs off of playing video games. And you don't even necessarily have to be good. You just have to have a good personality for it. You have to have the right games. You just have to be, fun to watch. And once I kind of started noticing that, this is a real thing that people, like, you can even get scholarships to go for gaming now. So it's just like, it's evolved into something a lot more. And I just saw the unique opportunity. I was like, hey, I'm a basketball player. I play video games for free already all day. So why not try to record this, interact with other professional gamers, get them to kind of interact with, my fan base. Like, and it's just something I don't know, it just feels like something I could build and something that I'm truly passionate about. And even though it's video games, it's still so much more opportunity for, collaborations, event plannings. There's so many things that, that are popping up out of video games I never would have expected. And it is pretty much something that I'm trying to build into. I don't want to say a career, but I definitely want to say something that is definitely lucrative for me down the line. Especially while I have the platform of being in the NBA, while there's eyes still on me, while people still want to, bump shoulders with me and then hang out. So why not kind of use the NBA and the platform I have here to build my social media, build my Twitch, build my YouTube, my podcast, and really create something out of it. I mean, everybody's seeing all these the Twitch, like the Twitch stars, like Ninja, to call him Nick Mertz, like the guys that get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, every year, and millions of dollars every year just playing video games. Like they had to start somewhere, and I feel like that's definitely, it would be a unique opportunity for me to kind of go that route, especially being an NBA player. Like, people like that, and I think people like seeing me play video games, and people like seeing that side of my personality that they don't get to experience. So it's something I'm truly passionate about, something I really want to be good at, and I just figured what better time to grow that brand now than ever.
All right, so T. Ross, we got a question from the audience, and then I've got one more closing question to let you get back to the job. So the question is, from your perspective as an athlete, what is the best way for a company if they want to partner with you? So it's coming from the company's lens, like what gets you excited about potentially partnering with a company? What are some things that you've seen over the years, whether with you or with someone else, where you got more interested in actually working with a company who's approached you?
Well, for me, when I partner with a company, I know it sounds kind of like corny and cliche, but you kind of really do want to make sure that is it a brand that kind of represents who you are, or do you represent something that might be a part of that brand? And it's just and it makes the relationship so much easier, because you won't get stuck down the line trying to figure out well, yeah, they pay me to do this, but I don't really agree with, the product or the message that they're sending out, and you don't have that conflict of interest. So for me, I like to see brands that are something I can personalize myself with, or something I can see myself being involved with. And at this age, and at this juncture in a lot of college athletes' lives, it's all new and unexplored. So there is really no wrong way to do it. You just have to get out there, introduce yourself, whether that's through emails, through social media accounts, through, just actual face-to-face contact, whatever it might be. I think it's just getting out, understanding what you want your brand to be and what aligns with that. And then you can kind of go down the path that's kind of meant for you, that, it won't be too complicated or you won't lose passion about. So it's just tough, man. I definitely say for all the young people out there, just do your research, ask questions, the biggest thing, because it's all new. I mean, we're still trying to figure out, I'm still trying to figure out, how far I can brands and what I can ask for, what, they can do for me, what I can do for them. So, you just gotta come get out of that.
That's a good point. Yeah,
sure.
That's a good point, though, because a lot of people are trying to act say what's normal in these scenarios and whatnot.
This is all new.
Yeah.
It's new. This is literally the beginning of a different era. So that's why it's important to go out, ask for too much, see what they won't give you, then you can kind of realign with that. You have to kind of put yourself out there, because right now, this is the time to do it, and you don't want to miss the opportunity. Things like this go by fast. Next you know, once somebody gets, a template of how to run things, that's going to be the new way. So if you can kind of beat that out before it gets there, to that point, you're going to be great.
All right, T. Ross, any closing words? Let's imagine that young T. Ross, college basketball T. Ross is listening right now. Any final statement of advice before we check out?
Don't wait, man. Don't wait to do this. I know a lot of people are just yeah, I'm young, I'll get it figured out. Don't wait, man. Because it's a difference between, feeling comfortable enough to do something and then just all right, this is the opportunity to seize it. They don't come by. quite often. Like, I literally miss this grand opportunity by 10 years. In hindsight, yeah, it sounds long, but in the hindsight of how long the college has had a conglomerate on this whole monopoly, this is the beginning of like a unique time. So you can't do anything wrong. You have to literally go out there, put yourself on the line, enjoy it.
Awesome.
Think outside the box.
Well, T. Ross, thanks again. Go check out his podcast.
Yes.
Follow him on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Discord, all that. And hope you have a good rest of your workout, and really appreciate you taking the time to hang with us.
Yes, sir. Thank you guys for having me. Let me know when you want me back.
Shout out Becky Bonner.
Shout out Becky Bonner. Right. Yes, sir. Have a good one.
All right. Take care. See you.